Grand Rising Soul Family, welcome to the Sunset Child Out There podcast. I'm your host, Sunset Child. Today's episode is the big reveal, 2020. What can I say? 2020 was an eye-opener, no pun intended, but you could see everything clearly when you have 2020 vision. We had our country, we had the globe all shut down, and everybody shut down. The whole globe. And some of us went to work and some of us stayed home. And the ones I went to work and still kept my regular life. And I kept, it was like, I would say it was a normal life for me because nothing stopped for me personally, except one thing that was in 2019 when my children were kicked out of school, out of public school for religious exempt. And when they kicked us out of school for religious exempt, it was very hard and it was different, but we started homeschooling. And then when 2020 came, it was okay. It was natural because we were already in the midst of homeschooling and doing our own thing. So 2020 actually became the timeline and it just meshed right with us. And there were a lot of things happening, yes. And I work in the medical field, so a lot of things were happening, but not the way the TV was telling it, because I really didn't watch TV. I don't watch it. And I'm not a big news person. Like, I don't watch the news too much. Like, I know what goes on around the world because I pay attention to things. And the crazy part was in 2018, I was going through some stuff and they had it with a building. They had in China in October 2018, they had a building. They were wrapping it in China, which I thought was very weird. And I was like, why are they wrapping that building? And then 2 years later, all this stuff blew up. But while that was happening, all this other stuff, we were protesting, we were doing all this other stuff to help with our children and what they were doing, what the government was doing. And once that went through June 13, 2019, I couldn't believe it. I was in a state of shock, but I was also like, this is it. That's what it is. So let's keep moving. And I had to keep moving because if I didn't, I don't think anybody knew what was going on. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I might have spoke to one friend, but I didn't speak to anybody about it. I just kept moving because now our children can't go to school, and we were ejected out of school because of religious exempt. And that was the most craziest thing ever. But I believe that was a timeline. And I believe that timeline changed into that, which changed into 2020, which changed into now I see everything clearly in 2020. You have to really think about that. Go deep. You got to think deep with it because 2020 vision, you can see everything clearly. You can see behind the scenes. The veil has been lifted. And now I'm seeing the world the way I need to see it. Because before I wasn't seeing anything. That's why we got side-blinded and rushing and living our lives, and you're moving and you're just moving and and you're not paying attention to the train coming. And when that train hit, it was just very like, holy cow, this is happening in America. Our rights were taken away from us in America, but I had to find other ways of living our life and not be afraid. Because the change was so rapid. And the timeline that came in after that was the 2020 with the shutting everything down, which I look at as it worked towards our benefit. It really worked towards our benefit. And I had to keep a straight head on. And I have to not be close. I have to remember that if I want to live in this life, I have to pay attention to everything around me. I have to see everything. I have to pay attention to what our government is doing. And that really made the lights turn on and the cockroaches go. Because truly had to see everything for what it was. And I really had to start researching everything, researching what does this mean? What does that mean? What does anything mean? What does morning mean? I say grand rising. I don't say good morning. I'm not going to wish you a grand death. I started learning about what words mean. I started learning about numbers. I started learning about what our government's doing. I started learning the world is a closed system. There's a firmament over the top. Nothing can get in or out. And I learned 2016, nobody can get in and out without the galactic's permission. Without their permission, they cannot come in, they cannot come out. And they better have a frequency high enough to get through, because that's the only way you're getting in and out of here. We have been in this closed system for, it's the fishbowl, they used to call it. And we have our own UFOs, our own ships. Here we have motherships everywhere you could ever imagine, underneath the water. There are civilizations underneath the water because they have to work these ships. There has to be people under there. And you got to remember, NASA came in the late 50s. NASA came in the late 50s. You had wars that they saw ships. Yes, they saw ships. They were fighting them. That's why a lot of wars we had, a lot of ships came out. They were our ships fighting our people. That's why they would go, oh, Agent Orange, and, it was a chemical that was put out so that people wouldn't realize that they were fake. But see me, I go, something's wrong with that. If you're going to tell me you're going to kill me, or you're going to tell me you're poisoning me, isn't that still crimes for humanity? That's another episode. When you see things in the air, when you see UFOs in the air, those are ours. And right now we're at a biblical time right now where all the extraterrestrials are coming to watch the show of a lifetime, a biblical change of our people, of our planet. And it's called ascension. It's called the ascension. And it's our planet, it's our people, it's the animals, it's the trees that are going to ascend. And we're all ascending times. There's going to be waves. Every wave, there's like 3 or 4 waves that are going to happen. And we are going to see it happen. You can tell some days you walk out and you see that it's greener outside. The air is different. Because you got to remember that chemtrails is real. They passed it through 27 states, laws. They're looking to make laws so that nobody puts anything up in the air. And those chemtrails that they put up in the air are done for the unseen to be covered. They don't want you seeing the galactic fighting that's going on in the air, because there is galactic fighting in the air. I've seen it. I've seen it. If you are not watching the skies, you are missing out on a show of a lifetime, because they are up there and they are fighting different factors. Military's up there fighting different factors. And there's drones too. when I would take pictures of the sky and I would see a plane, you could hear the plane, but you can't see it. And then all of a sudden this white thing come out and you're looking and it's white. It's not silver or anything. It's just a white plane going by. I would take pictures of it. And it wasn't a plane. It was not a plane. It was just them. It was their drones that were passing by. Because remember, we can't put satellites in the air. They put balloons up in the air with the satellite. They cannot put satellites up in the air. Because if we really did have that stuff up in the air, it would be falling on us. Because it can only go so far. And it can't go around a closed circuit, a closed system. It would be hitting the wall. But a balloon, at least a balloon can stay up there, float around, and every now and then it will come down. And they'll try and put fear into the people because they want to keep us vibrating at a certain frequency so that we're scared, we're in fear, we're stressed, and we malfunction ourselves through the day. And you got people that become, just drink it away, just party it away, just here, take a drug, and it's to take a hold of your soul. And it really is. It takes a hold of people's soul, and it brings in entities into your body. And entities can attach to you without any of that stuff. It's where your mind is, what you're feeding into your mind. And if you're feeding negativity in your mind, you're bringing an entity in your mind. If you're bringing positive into your mind, that's why they have the angel and the devil. You're bringing that angelic being to you. Your ancestors, your angelic beings are all around us. It is so packed out here, you have no idea. When you think that you're alone, you are not ever alone. You are so encapsulated with people all around you and beings all around you. There's multi-dimensions that we live in, and we don't even realize it half the time. Because when you sit there and you put your keys down and you're in a certain mind frame, and you let go of that mind frame, all of a sudden you lose your keys. Your keys just went into another timeline, another portal, another place, another dimension. And you're looking all over for these keys in your house, and you're like, where are my keys, man? And then all of a sudden you remember where you were. Because, you have to recall, go back. And all of a sudden your keys show up where you looked 20 times. And they showed up because you went back to that timeline. We're jumping timelines, people. We're jumping them. And then we can come back. You can roll back and move forward. But be careful where you roll, because you may get stuck in a place you don't want to be. But as long as you keep moving forward and you keep feeding the side, the positive thoughts and positive mind, you can keep moving in a graceful way, to a beautiful place you want to be. So much information, so much knowledge that 2020 made me see what would be in the future. And now you have Bigfoot coming out. He's coming out more and more because now we're at a consciousness, a frequency that we can see him. We can see them now. We can see them. Before we couldn't. Before they were cloning themselves. They were cloaking out because they were in a different frequency than we were. We are elevating and we are seeing we are unveiling all these things that are coming out now. And we as people, as a mass, as a consciousness, when you think about your friends, they call you, don't they? Because I know I have friends, I think about them and they call me. That's telepathically. We're getting into that age, the golden age. That's coming. That's all that's coming. It's here. But the golden age is not just now. The golden age has been around many millennia. But so many things. But all I have to say is keep researching. If you think something's weird, look it up. If you think something's not right, research it. And really, I think my next episode will be about getting into UFOs and really talking about getting really in depth about the closed circuit. And I want to thank you for joining me for this episode. And remember, whether chasing sunsets or exploring new horizons, keep your spirit adventurous and your heart open. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, because always something amazing out there. And thank you again to Eye Opener Society for this platform.